Hi everyone and welcome to Jab and Move with your host Stephen, and it's here. Dry January is over. We are back to the big heavyweights knocking lumps out of each other, and the first fight coming up, the big fight coming up, Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker, the IBF champ versus the challenger. Who wins it? Let's go through. We've seen the face-off, and I'm just going to break it down quickly in terms of what I think is going to happen and what I thought happened in the face-off and my key points from it. So straight into it. The demeanour of Parker looked phenomenal. I thought he looked composed. He looked in control. He knew what he was going to say. He knew how he was going to say it. Again, this is not Daniel Dubois' strength. He's not the best talker. He's not the most charismatic of all speakers when it comes to boxers. We've had much more elegant people when it comes to the talking. What I like about Dubois is he will go in, he will go and try and fight you, and he will try and take your head off. And that is something I personally appreciate when it comes to the big heavyweights. But Parker looked reassured. He looked composed. He was with his trainer, Andy Lee, and they both look like they have a plan. They both had a game plan in that face-off. It wasn't as tense as I wanted it to be. I love a face-off when they start throwing shit around and just start kicking that lumps out of each other. Well, theoretically, they can't actually do it just yet, but going at each other and really wanting to kill each other. That person, what I think is boxing was, had it in the olden days. They've not got it as much now when it comes to certain things. There's very few fights that have that. Remember back in Chisora heydays and stuff, but that's personally something I love. We didn't really have it from this one, but what I did like was the demeanour of Parker and Andy Lee. With Dubois, again, he is the champion. He mentioned in there about being the underdog, and he likes being the underdog. He is no longer the underdog. I don't think anyone has Dubois as the underdog. He is the IBF champion. He deserved that when he beat Joel Miller, Hrgovic, and then Joshua in a year after the issue with Usyk, which we'll come back on very soon. But he is the champion. He is the top dog. So it's changed now. He can't turn around and start saying that, oh, I like being the underdog, this is how I work, this is my thing. He can see himself as the underdog, but he isn't in most people's eyes. He is the champion. He is the favourite. So going into it, big thing I took from it, especially when it came to what people were sort of throwing back and forth to each other, was very much Andy Lee's jab at Daniel Dubois, excuse the pun, when he mentioned actually that he lost the fight to Usyk on a jab. I liked it. I thought that was smart. I thought it was genius because it got into Dubois' head. And I think the reason for that is because when you see it later down the line, he did lose on the jab, and he did, personally for me, give up on that fight. I don't care what anyone says. He mentally left that ring. Does that mean he's a bad fighter? Absolutely not. He's still a young and raw fighter for his age. And for a heavyweight champion, he is still very young. There are very few that have won bouts earlier than him. But when it came to that fight, he left the ring, he gave up, he didn't want it anymore, and you could see that, and Usyk took that as an advantage and won. And you do not stand there, you do not look down at the referee from the count of 5 to the count of 9 and then stand up and go, I'm good, if you don't want to be in, if you want to be in the ring anymore. You clearly didn't want it, and that's fair enough. He may have that rematch, and we'll see what happens there in the future. But you could see it. It just tweaked something. It just got in his head somehow. And Frank Warren had to step in there and have that conversation, sort of rebuttal that, mention this is a different different Daniel Dubois, this is a different fighter. You know, he's progressed since then. But one thing that Andy Lee did say, and one thing that Frank Warren actually admitted to, was so was Parker. People forget Dubois had an absolute stellar year. But Parker had the same year. He went and beat Deontay Wilder. Obviously, we know Deontay Wilder now, but he's still one of the heaviest hitters before that point in the heavyweight division. He went and beat a much bigger man in Zhele Zhang and absolutely tormented him. And the thing that I reckon here that people forget about, and the thing that Andy Lee mentioned, is that Parker is not the size he was when he faced Joshua and Dillian White back in, I think it was 2018. He's bigger. But not only is he bigger, he is more muscular, he is more defined. He actually is faster with the size, and that is the big thing here people forget about. Yes, he's put on size. Yes, he's a bigger hitter, but he's faster. He has grown into that size, very much like Usyk in the heavyweights. Not the same fighter, but Usyk in the heavyweights. He grew into that size. He grew into that heavyweight build. Parker has done that since being trained by Andy Lee. He has become a different fighter. And he mentioned that, and that's something that I don't think they were prepared for. Like I said, they are both huge hitters. And I think personally, Dubois and Joshua, this isn't going the distance. The one's getting knocked out personally. And I've got my personal feelings on that, on what I'm going to do. And I'm going to make a video for that very close to the time of what I think is going to happen. We've got to wait for a little bit more fight week, stuff like that. I want to see how the fighters are, what the condition is before we start making those predictions. But I have it in my head where I think I'm going to go. But the thing I liked about Dubois actually was that he didn't say an awful lot, because I don't think he can. I don't think it suits him to be the talker. He's the aggressor. And he was like, oh, yeah, win at all costs, win at all costs, win at all costs. I like that in a fighter. He's got the aggression. But when Dubois turned around to Parker and said, what is it you're going to bring to this fight? What are you going to do? He was like, it's going to be deliberate, it's going to be accurate, and going to be strong, and things like that. And he was just making it very clear, everything he does is going to be deliberate. Everything he's done so far has been deliberate. He is a different animal. Dubois is a different animal. It is going to be a phenomenal, phenomenal fight. The face-off wasn't personally what I wanted. I wanted them to really go at each other, but I did like, personally, the review of it. The control by Parker, for me, was much more out there, and the eloquency of Parker was there to see. But I liked Dubois. He was short, sweet, and I think both of them have got their heads in gear now for this huge, mammoth heavyweight fight. Like I say, guys, it is the big one. Dry January is done. February 22nd, we have the huge fight of Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker, and I personally cannot wait. That is my face-off reaction. Like I said, both looking very good, both are very excited, but I prefer personally Parker's way and the way he approached it. Let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care. Bye.